How's everybody today? Good. Well, a lot of good things, happened out there today, especially on offense. I think the offense is way ahead of the defense in terms of we got a lot of experienced players back, a lot of explosive players, and both AJ and Greg, playing very well at quarterback. A lot of guys injured in the secondary, which created some issues and problems in terms of being able to have any continuity in what we're trying to do. But there's a lot of things that we can work on, learn from, and improve on, especially on the defensive side of the ball and especially on special teams. We did have a few injuries today. Menzie got a slightly pulled hamstring. He'll be day-to-day. Robert Lester got a concussion, so he was out from the beginning of the scrimmage. D. Milner twisted his ankle. He was out for the scrimmage. He'll be day-to-day. Blake Sims sprained his foot. He'll be out day-to-day. Mark Ingram got the wind knocked out of him at the end of the game, so I'm sure that in 2 minutes, we'll make a big deal out of that, but he got the wind knocked out of him. All right, and if there's anything else wrong with him, we'll be the first ones to tell you. Greg played very well today. He's got a very good feel for the offense. Made a lot of good choices and decisions, and he was 26 for 33 for 360 yards, had a lot of big plays. We probably threw the ball more by plan, in this scrimmage because we wanted to, work on pass defense and tackling in the secondary, but we didn't do a very good job of tackling today anywhere on defense. We got a lot of work to do on that. Had a lot of mental errors. We played immature as a defense, and we got to learn and grow up from it. And we got one more scrimmage, and we got to get ready for a game. And it would help if we could get players on the field so we could get some repetition and continuity in what we're doing. We just have to work through that. Earl Alexander had 5 catches today. Julio had 7. Preston Dow had 3. B.J. Scott had an interception, and Mosley had an interception. So there were a couple turnovers on defense. All in all, I think it's a tough circumstance that, our team is in right now. And, we got to get our team focusing on what they need to do to improve. I think that's the number one thing that I talked to them about afterwards, is it doesn't matter where you are now. Everybody can improve. Some areas we need to improve more than others, and it's a process. I read an article that Donovan McNabb talked about being in a new offense in Washington and, making some mistakes and some people being down on him a little bit in practice. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn and grow, and every player's got to look at it that way so that we can improve and get better. And I think that's the number one focus that we have to take out of this scrimmage, is so that we can get better as a team.
Coach, just as a follow-up, with so many guys out in the secondary, what kind of shuffling did you have to do? Who had to play back there? How much did it affect you?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit. It's been one thing after another in the secondary in terms of changing personnel, starting in the spring, starting at the end of the bowl game. Whether it's losing guys, suspending guys, getting guys hurt now, so we really can't get the continuity that we'd like, but we're going to stay positive about it. We like some of the players that we have. We just got to get them on the field and work them, and they have to stay healthy enough to be on the field so that they have a chance to improve and get better and develop confidence in what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it, and go out there and make some plays. And I think that would go a long way in helping us to improve. But we can't put players in situations when they're not healthy, and I think we got to have patience about how we go about this and try to do it the best we can.
Can you tell us what you saw today from the punters and the kickers?
You know what? I think each punter got 5 or 6, live opportunities to punt. I think both guys had 2 or 3 good ones, and both guys had 2 or 3 that probably could have been a little better. I think if you watch these guys punt in specialty before practice, you would say that, man, where'd you guys get those guys? But they got to learn to take that to the game. They got to learn to take that when it's live bullets and they're rushing at them and having the same rhythm. And I think it's just going to be, experience for them, and confidence and trusting, in the people that are blocking for them and what they need to do to be consistent performers. But both guys, as punters, have, talent. I don't know what we were from a field goal standpoint. I know we made some long field goals, and we missed one from 52 or 53, but just missed it. It was plenty long. Did a good job of kicking off. I think Shelley made 2 and missed 2. But, he has been the guy that has been really the most consistent from, say, the 25-yard line in. I think he's only had 1 miss the whole camp. Cade's got a really strong leg and just has to get a little bit more consistent in his accuracy. But both those guys are, have good talent, but it's the same thing. You got to be able to take it to the game with consistency and confidence, and that's what we're trying to develop situationally as we go through camp.
Well, just intensity-wise, I know that was something you were worried about with all the practices, no rest. Was that where you wanted to be?
No, absolutely not. I don't think that we have enough guys that show the maturity to be able to overcome adverse circumstances and play with the kind of intensity and focus that you need to in difficult circumstances. And, and I think that's indicated, and I told the team this afterwards, when, we went inside Wednesday because it was so hot. We went inside Friday because it was very hot and we were going to scrimmage today. And we have so much better energy and body language and mental intensity and practice so much better. And as soon as we get back out here, it's like, woe is me, like, wow, this is really something. And, we're going to have to play a game, maybe not this hot, all right, but something that's going to be difficult. And we would like to be able to have the kind of mental toughness that would let us make that an advantage for us, not a disadvantage. And I think that's maturity too. And I think that's the biggest thing about this team. All right, we got a lot of young players, especially on defense, and they need to grow up and they need to mature as football players and as competitors. And that's a process, and we're just going to have to keep working every day to give them the direction and instruction and teach and inspire and engage and influence them to do those things. And just, that's what we got to, keep our eye on the target and just keep on working to improve with them.
With the injuries in the secondary, are you going to have to consider some position switches?
I don't know the extent right now of how long these guys will be out, so I don't know that we have a lot of options from that standpoint. We could, start part-time and Brandon Gibson back in the secondary. I haven't talked to him about that, but, that would be one option that we prepared ourselves for in the spring. But we'll just have to look at the film tomorrow and sort of decide what we need to do to try to improve ourselves.
And you seemed a little disappointed in the inside linebackers the other day. Did you see some progress there today?
You know what? I really don't want to make a comment until I watch the film, but I don't think defensively as a whole we played very well at all. I don't think we played very good gap control up front. We didn't tackle, we didn't finish, we didn't clean up tackles and knock runners back. We didn't have the eye of the tiger that we need to be a good defensive team, and that's all 11 of them. So, when we have success, we all have success, and when we don't, we all suffer for it. So I think everybody needs to sort of step it up a notch and do the things they need to do to improve so that we can have a good team. And it starts with everybody being responsible to do their job. I mean, there were many opportunities today where guys didn't do what they were supposed to do, and the results were not good.
Coach, you said Lester didn't compete in most of the scrimmage. What was the option at that position, and how do you feel like the guys did filling in for him?
Well, he was really playing with the twos. He got, I don't know when he got it, but it was like maybe the first series of the scrimmage. And I don't know the extent of it. We do a really good job here, I think, of, the test, for concussion guys as to when they can come back, when they can start physical exercise as well as contact. And, we sort of leave that up to the medical staff, and they do a really good job of that. So we're hopeful that he'll be back, in a few days, but, that's not for us to determine right now.
And kind of off topic, but had you talked to Glen Coffee any in the last year or two, and were you surprised by his decision to leave?
I really was. I have not talked to him much. I've seen him a couple times when he comes back around and talked to him on those occasions, but I really was surprised. Glenn was such a warrior-type competitor, when he was here, and a guy that just played fantastic football for us and improved dramatically, in the 2 years that he was on the team, and had a fantastic year in, 2 years ago, his last year that he was here. So he always seemed to be a guy that really loved the game. But, I don't really know what contributed to this, but it did surprise me a little bit. But at the same time, we're always going to be very supportive. And if we can be helpful in any way, if there is some issue or problem with him, he knows he's always going to be a part of the family here, and we'd love to help him any way we could.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.